Today we are working on Psalm 4. Magically speaking, Psalm 4 is frequently used to cure insomnia, for justice in legal matters, for luck, and for a good night's sleep. Today I would like to use Psalm number 4 to change bad luck to good. Luck can seem like it's happening to us, but it's happening from us. And it's something that we can decide and we can take charge of. And that's what we're going to do with this psalm today. The way we work psalm magic is very simple and effective. We take the psalm in question and we recite it out loud all the way through once without stopping. This is called an incantation. Then we take that same psalm and we go back through it and we take one verse at a time. We consider each verse as we dig for and search for hidden occult meanings that lie within each verse. We call these magic seeds, and it's through this process of digging and searching and also applying those seeds to whatever our issue is that we brought to the psalm, that we are in a very real sense taking those seeds and planting them in the deep and fertile ground of our minds, where they take root, blossom forth, and then bear fruit after their kind. And that's what we are all going to do together right now with Psalm number 4. Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your heart upon your bed and be still, Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. There be many that say, Who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. It starts with the phrase, Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Remember that the Lord in the Psalms is depicted as a patriarchal deity. But from a magician's point of view, that's just a symbol of the one source, the one force in all the universe. There's only one, and it's important to understand that each and every time we come to a psalm spell, because we realize then that since there's only one, there's nothing to oppose it. There's nothing that can come up against it, and therefore our success is assured. So it says, Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. God of my righteousness, meaning the force that creates us. Since this force is all perfection, it can only create all perfection. And therefore, our righteousness is who we are. It's that which we were created to be. We were created to be righteous. So anything that is not righteous, in the spell unlucky, anything that is not righteous is not created by infinite intelligence, is not created by the Lord, is not created by God. Therefore, it ultimately can't exist. So if we are experiencing unluckiness, that must be something that is not really happening or only happening within the realm of hallucination in this world. It's important for us to understand that since it's not really happening, although it feels like it is within the dream that we're experiencing, it can feel extremely real. But since we recognize that it can't be ultimately happening because infinite intelligence wouldn't create that for us, then we can withdraw our investment in the unluckiness and turn instead to the source, which is righteous. Righteous means lucky in this sense. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. We are making the first move. We are creating our petition. And by creating this petition, we are reminding ourselves that this force is always and has always and will always be a source of help. and will help us no matter what is going on. And to have mercy upon us means that we are calling upon sphere number 4 in the Hermetic Tree of Life. Sphere number 4 is luck, is fortune. It is the wonderful resolution of any problem. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. So this is what we're imagining infinite intelligence asking us. So why are you going to be contemplating that which is not lucky when I only created you to be lucky? How long will you turn my luck, it says glory, into shame, into bad luck? How long will you love vanity? It's a vain thing to be unlucky. It's arrogant to be unlucky. You're doing something that I didn't create. And seek after leasing. For how long are you going to try to trick the system? Since you don't feel lucky, since you feel unlucky, how long are you going to go and try to trick it, to try to manipulate things so that things work out for you? So then it says Selah, which means think about that. Think about how you are invested in your own unluckiness. What are the payoffs in your being unlucky? What do you get? We're not saying that it's your fault. For instance, if you're sick all the time, it's not that we're saying it's your fault that you're sick, but it's good to know and notice what the payoffs to being sick are, because those are those areas where you might not want to get well. Well, I don't have to go and do things that I don't want to do because I don't feel well. I don't have to go to work anymore because I don't feel well. Right? There's a lot of payoffs. And so what is the payoff in you being unlucky? It's important to think about those things. Again, we're not blaming ourselves, but we are recognizing where we are participating in it. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. The part that God created is the part that's always connected to God. The part that God created is always connected to God. Everything that God didn't create is not connected to God. And if it's not connected to God, then it doesn't exist. You only think it does. It only exists in the imagination. And it's so important to realize this because anything that's unlucky in your life didn't come from God. God's not punishing you with bad luck. God hath set apart him that is godly for himself. So the parts of you that God created are always lucky, always fortunate. Everything works out for you in wonderful ways. Everything else is not what God wills. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Standing in awe of God is a good thing to do. Standing in awe of the infinite, because we recognize that our own small-mindedness is not the truth about who we are. When we are in awe of this power, then it undoes everything in us that is not in accord with that awesomeness. The only thing that's appropriate in the entire universe for you to respond to with awe is this power. It says, sin not. So when you are in awe of the power, you can't sin. You can't make a mistake. It's impossible to make a mistake when you are in the awesome presence of infinite intelligence. When you are in awe, that means that your mind is focused on that power. When your mind is focused on that power, it means it's not focused on anything else. And if it's not focused on anything else, then anything else no longer exists for you and can fall away. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Selah. Your heart is a Chaldean term for the soul. Also, sometimes people call it the deep mind. Like when you know something by heart, it means you don't have to think about it anymore. When you're communing with your soul on your bed, that means that as you go to sleep each night, you want to go to sleep knowing that you are taken care of, that your affairs are being looked after by infinite intelligence, that everything is turning to the way that the infinite wants it for you, wills it for you, and that you're letting go of anything that does not look like the infinite's will for you. And as you can go into sleep with those thoughts of infinite intelligence's will for you, then all you're doing is you're bringing that into the depths of your soul, into the depths of your deep mind, so that you experience them in objective reality. We know about sleep programming and hypnosis and things like that. It's a very ancient practice, and it's what's being described here. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. Offering the sacrifices of righteousness means do your spiritual practice each and every day. Don't waste your time thinking about what's not working. Instead, focus on your spiritual practice. Focus on serving the infinite. You do that by having some sort of daily spiritual practice, something that's very specific, something that you can do again and again. Some of you want to do meditation, some of you do magic, some of you do law of attraction, some of you do prayer work. Whatever it is, it's fine. Just make sure that you make that your focal point, especially if you want to really turn your luck around. You got to get your mind focused, and the way you do that is by having some sort of spiritual practice. Putting your trust in the Lord is something that is a natural outgrowth of a spiritual practice, because that spiritual practice, if it's done well, puts your focus on the power that can create for you that which is your true will. And anything else, which is your mind run amok, no longer is being exercised. And then by sheer atrophy, those other thoughts start to die off. And so therefore, the more we can really focus on infinite intelligence in a very systematic way by some sort of spiritual practice on a regular basis, our luck is assured. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift up the light of thy countenance upon us. So you don't need to worry about other people's opinions. You don't need to worry about other people's opinions, and you definitely don't need to worry about what everybody else is saying and doing around you. You don't have to become part of the fray. You don't have to be part of the isn't it awful crowd. Everybody's talking about isn't it awful. There's all kinds of reasons to say it's awful. It's awful. But you don't have to be part of that crowd. There's enough people doing that. It's not like there's a shortage of people talking about how bad this world is. You're not doing anything that is going to help you by allowing yourself to be part of that crowd. What you can do instead is call on infinite intelligence, and it says, lift up the light of thy countenance upon us. The light of the countenance of infinite intelligence, what is the face of God? What is the light of the face of God? The face is that which you can look at and know who someone is. You know someone by their face. That's why we have facial recognition software. The face is kind of like the thumbprint. It's unique unto that person. Well, the face of infinite intelligence is similar to the name of God. And so what you want to do is, instead of listening to isn't it awful, start listening inside your own mind to the ideas and the principles of infinite intelligence, the names of God. So what are the names of God? We talk about 8 names of God. We were just talking about this on Facebook today in regards to the angel magic course. There's 8 that we come up with. You can come up with as many as you want. But there's infinite life, there's infinite soul, there's infinite spirit, infinite intelligence, infinite truth, infinite love, divine law, divine presence. All of those ideas, if you're thinking about those things rather than listening to the isn't it awful crowd, your luck is assured to change from bad to good. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and wine increased. Infinite intelligence created you glad. Your heart is your soul. Your soul is glad by nature. It has no other function than to be glad. That's why infinite intelligence's will for you is happiness. Infinite intelligence created you happy. That's who you are, as a happy, glad, successful soul who has no problems whatsoever. Since that's the case, and since that's the truth, as you contemplate these truths and you let the parts of your mind which have nothing to do with your soul to start falling away, then you're going to be even more glad than the most prosperous people that you know of. Think about the real prosperous people that you might look up to and say, oh boy, I'd love to have their kind of luck. Oh, they're so lucky. That's nothing compared to what you're going to be. That's nothing compared to what's in store for you. You were created glad. You were created to be happy. You were created lucky. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Safety right now, we can talk about luck as being safety. Lucky people are always safe. Nothing bad happens to a lucky person. And so now that you know that that's infinite intelligence's will for you, you can fall asleep peacefully. You can sleep all night like a baby and wake up joyous, happy, and free. You're going to bring these truths it keeps telling you in the psalm. You're going to bring these truths with you into sleep each night so that you are programming your deep mind to accept the truths of infinite intelligence rather than the loud, raucous, gnawing, tempting clamor of the mortal world. All of those people that say that nothing's good enough and everything's bad and we're all going to hell. You can turn those voices off and instead start listening to the truth and bringing that truth into the depths of your deep mind where they will literally take root and blossom and bear fruit of good luck and good fortune and goodness in all ways for you. So we just keep coming back to the psalm each and every day until we get a sense that whatever we brought to the psalm is resolved and that the success is ours. We'll get that sense of peace. We'll get that sense of certainty. And we won't need to cast about that anymore once we get that click, that indicator, and we can move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.